Chapter 13 is looking at environmental problems, and I want to say that there are two aspects of globalization that have certainly affected the environment. And one is the permeability of international borders. Environmental problems such as global warming extend far beyond their source to affect the entire planet and its inhabitants. We have what is known as bioinvasion, which is the emergence of organisms into regions where they are not native. Bioinvasion is largely a product of the growth of global trade and tourism. Then we have the growth of transnational corporations and free trade agreements. The world's economy is dominated by transnational corporations, many of which are implicated in environmentally destructive activities. The World Trade Organization and free trade agreements such as NAFTA provide transnational corporations with privileges to pursue profits, expand markets, use natural resources, and exploit cheap labor in developing countries while weakening the ability of governments to protect natural resources or to implement environmental legislation. Transnational corporations have influenced the world's most powerful nations to institutionalize an international system of governance that values commercialism, corporate rights, and free trade over environment, human rights, worker rights, and even human health. Environmental problems such as climate change and destruction of the ozone layer extend far beyond their source to affect the entire planet, like I stated earlier. For example, toxic chemicals from the southern hemisphere have been found in the Arctic. And here's another example of bioinvasion. Red fire ants, known for their painful sting, is an example. They came from Paraguay and Brazil on shiploads of lumber to Mobile, Alabama back in 1957, and of course they have spread throughout the southern states. Looking at the symbolic interactionist perspective, they do focus on how meanings, labels, and definitions learned through interaction and through the media affect population and environmental problems. Large corporations and industries commonly use marketing and public relations strategies to construct favorable meanings of their corporation or industry. We do have a concept known as greenwashing, which you do need to know. This is a business strategy in which environmentally damaging companies portray their corporate image and products as being environmentally friendly or socially responsible. Ecosystems are the complex and dynamic relationships between forms of life and the environments that they inhabit. Over the past 50 years, humans have altered ecosystems more rapidly and extensively than in any other comparable period of time in history. Most of the world's energy does come from fossil fuels, which include petroleum or oil, coal, natural gas. And I want to say the major environmental problems facing the world today is air, land, and water pollution, destruction of our habitats, biodiversity loss, global warming, and environmental illnesses, which are linked to the production and use of fossil fuels. Freshwater resources are being consumed by agriculture, by industry, and for domestic use. This is just one way our natural resources are being depleted. More than 1 billion people lack access to clean water. The demand for new land, fuel, and raw materials resulted in deforestation. Certainly, class, it does contribute to the increasing levels of carbon dioxide in the air. And what deforestation is the conversion of forest land to non-forest land. In other words, we're cutting down our trees. As far as air pollution, transportation vehicles, fuel combustion, industrial processes, solid waste disposal have certainly contributed to growing levels of air pollutants, including carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, mercury, and lead. In the United States, 6 out of 10 people live in counties where they are exposed to unhelpful levels of air pollution. As far as indoor air pollution class, there's a whole range of examples of indoor air pollution. But I want to say that it could be from burning wood and biomass for heating and cooking, which is certainly a significant cause of respiratory illnesses, lung cancer, blindness in our developing countries. More than half of the world's population cooks food and generates heat by burning wood, crop waste, or coal on open fires or stoves without chimneys. Even in the affluent countries, much air pollution is invisible to the eye and exists in our homes, schools, workplaces, public buildings in the forms of lead dust, secondhand tobacco smoke from stoves, furnaces, fireplaces, heaters, dryers, and other common household, personal, and commercial products. The ozone layer of the Earth's atmosphere protects life on Earth from the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays. It has been weakened by the use of certain chemicals, particularly chlorofluorocarbons, which is used in refrigerators, air conditioners, spray cans, and so forth and so on. Acid rain. Air pollutants such as sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxide mix with precipitation to form acid rain. Polluted rain, snow, and fog contaminates our crops, our forests, our lakes, and our rivers. Global warming refers to the increasing average global air temperature caused mainly by the accumulation of various gases that collect in the atmosphere. The prevailing scientific view is that greenhouse gases, primarily carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide, accumulate in the atmosphere and act like the glass in a greenhouse, which holds heat from the sun close to the earth. As far as the effects of global warming and climate change, they are projected to affect regions in different ways. Climate change kills 30,000 people per year. And looking at some of the other effects of global warming and climate change, we've got melting ice and sea level rising, flooding and the spread of disease, threats of species extinction, extreme weather conditions, and forest fires. As temperatures increase, some regions will experience heavier rain and other regions will get drier. Global warming results in shifts in plant and animal habitats and extinction of some species. Regions that experience increased rainfall may face increases in waterborne illnesses, diseases transmitted by insects. As global warming melts glaciers and the permafrost, sea levels will rise. And in urban areas, flooding can be a problem where storm drains and waste management systems are inadequate, resulting in increases in drownings, diarrheal, and respiratory diseases. About 30% of the world's surface is land, which provides soil to grow the food that we eat. There are many problems with land pollution, certainly nuclear waste, is one. It contains radioactive plutonium, which is linked to cancer and genetic defects. Recognizing the hazards of nuclear power plants and their waste, Germany became the very first country to order all of its 19 nuclear power plants shut down by 2020. Solid waste. In 1960, each person in the United States generated 2.7 pounds of garbage each day, and this figure has increased to 3.7 pounds in 1980 and 4.3 pounds in 2009. About one half, or more than half, of our solid waste is about one half of our solid waste is recycled and composted. More than half is taken to landfills. Solid waste includes discarded electrical appliances, electronic equipment known as e-waste, and here we're talking about computer screens and televisions. In 2000, Massachusetts became the very first state to ban the dumping of video monitors. Water pollution. Our water is being polluted by pesticides, vehicle exhaust, acid rain, oil spills, industrial, military, and agricultural waste. In the United States, 40% of all the United States waters are not safe for fishing or swimming. I want to say that water pollution is most severe in the developing countries where more than 1 billion people lack access to clean waters. Certainly pollutants find their way into the water that we drink. And there is a concept that you need to be familiar with. You will see this on your exam. Multiple chemical sensitivity disorder, which is MCS. It's also known as environmental illness. This is a condition whereby individuals experience adverse reactions when exposed to low levels of chemicals found in everyday substances such as vehicle exhaust, fresh paint, house cleaning products, perfume and other fragrances, synthetic building materials, and numerous other petrochemical-based products. Some symptoms of MCS include headache, burning eyes, difficulty breathing, stomach distress, nausea, loss of mental concentration, and dizziness. As far as population growth, I want to say the world's population is growing. In 2011, the world population reached the 7 billion mark. Population growth places increased demands on our natural resources and results in increased waste. There is a term known as environmental injustice, which is also called environmental racism. And what this is the tendency for socially and politically marginalized groups to bear the brunt of environmental ills. More than half, I'll say 56% of people living within 3 kilometers or 1.8 miles of a hazardous waste site are people of color. As far as in the United States, polluting industries, industrial and waste facilities, and transportation arteries are often located in minority neighborhoods. Many of the environmental problems confronting the world are associated with industrialization and economic development. Certainly the relationship between the level of economic development and environmental pollution is curvilinear rather than linear.